Hello everyone. Today I'm going to present here some of the concepts of the chemical kinetics. The as the name indicates, it is the chemical kinetics in which we are going to study the rate of the reaction. How does the reaction takes place? How fast and how slow the reaction is going on, and for studying the rate to what extent the reaction is taking place, how the reactants are getting converted into the product, we have to consider the different parameters which are going to affect the speed or the motion or the movement of the chemicals, of the entities, ions and the species for their conversion into the product. Means the reactant will react with each other and they will get converted into the product. So it depends whether the reaction is reversible or irreversible. Depending upon that also the product may get converted back into the reactant, or product may not be getting converted back into the reactant. So depending upon that the reactions are classified as reversible and irreversible reaction. Whatever theory we are studying, obviously there are some parameters which are going to affect that theory, and if we know the concept or the principle of that theory very well, then we can easily set, or we can very easily understand the parameter which are going to affect that theory. So here there are the parameters which will influence or which have the effect on the rate of the reaction. Obviously it will be a temperature, it will be a pressure if the reactants are present in the gaseous state. So obviously the pressure is going to affect the rate of the reaction. It will be the concentration itself. Concentration plays a very important role, because concentration itself is the ions which are involved in the reaction. The number of the ions, the quantity of the ions, the amount of the chemical constituent, chemical species which are itself involved in the reaction. So how much is the concentration, how much is the activity of an ion? Obviously the activity is little bit different from the concentration, because the activity is actually involvement of the ions in a chemical reaction, the ions which are actually taking part in the chemical reaction, whereas the concentration means the full amount of the solute which has been prepared by dissolution of the specific quantity with respect to the concentration of that species, of that chemical entities, of that chemical substance. This calculation is being done on the basis of its molecular weight. The molecular weight is being used for finding how much amount of that solute, how much amount of that chemical constituent entities is required, or which is to be dissolved in the solution of in the solvent of the specific volume to make a proper concentration of the solution. to make a proper concentration of the solution. So obviously, if we are using the catalyst to enhance the speed of the reaction, to fast up the reaction, then the catalyst will also affect the rate of the reaction. Catalyst has been added to increase the rate of the reaction, to fast up the reaction. It is not taking part in the reaction. It is not involved in the reaction. Only it enhances the speed of the reaction. And the thing is that at the end we are getting the catalyst back. But here the physical quality of the catalyst little bit get changed. Its appearance, physical appearance will get changed because of its involvement in the reaction. So depending upon that, there are the different parameters or the factors which are going to affect the reaction, like concentration of the reactant, temperature, pressure, presence of an catalyst. Out of all these parameters, the effect of temperature on the reaction rate is most profound. And we all know that there are the different kinds of the reaction which has been classified as zero order reaction, first order reaction, second order reaction, depending upon the dependence of the reaction, dependence of the rate of the reaction on the concentration of the reactant, depending on the rate of the reaction on the concentration of the reaction. And the effect of temperature on the rate of the reaction has been studied by Arrhenius equation. Where you will see K is equal to A exponential minus EA upon RT, where it consists of a different terms or the different component in the equation. Like K will be the rate constant and T will be the absolute temperature. And EA will be defined as the energy of the activation, that is the minimum amount of the energy which is required for the molecule to undergo the chemical reaction. R is a gas constant. So these are the parameters which are involved in the equation, in the Arrhenius equation, in which we study how the reaction is being affected by the temperature. What will be the effect of temperature on the rate of the reaction, on the rate constant. So there are the two theories which has been put forward to explain the rate of the reaction, to explain the chemical kinetics or the rate of the reaction. So out of these two theory, number one theory is a collision theory, in which the rate of the reaction is been explained on the basis of the collision of the reactant molecule. When the reactant molecule collides, how does the reaction occur? How does the reaction takes place? So because of that collision, when the rate of the reaction is studied, it is called as the collision theory. But this is a theory which has been put forward to explain the rate of the reaction. The second theory which you have are the activated complex theory. It is also called as transition state theory, or you can say transition stage theory, or the theory of absolute reaction rate, which is based on the thermodynamical concept. In this theory, explain that all the chemical reaction which are taking place In that reaction, there is a formation of an activated complex. The activated complex is formed, and this complex is formed as a short lived transient intermediate. And this, after formation of this activated complex, which is having a short life, or which is called as short lived transient intermediate, then this give rise to the reaction product. Then after, the reaction product is formed from the activated complex, which is formed, which will be having a very high energy. So at this stage, the molecules are considered to be unstable, because when they have the high energy, their stability get decreased. So in order to attain the stability, the molecule tried to get convert itself into the stable state. So they get converted, or they transfer themselves into the product. So this is about the simple two types of the theory, and the basic and the fundamentals which are involved in that theory for studying the kinetics of the chemical reaction, like collision theory and activated complex theory. So with this, I will stop my presentation here, and I am very much thankful to all of you for patient hearing.